Hey, this video is just a really quick video to kind of give you some hints about how to get started on this FRQ for this week. So before you start doing this, you should have read through the FRQ yourself and tried it, but I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of hints to get started. So the first part of it should be pretty straightforward. You're trying to figure out the probability if you picked one woman out of all of these at the university, what's the probability that that woman would not meet the age requirements? So you would have to read that carefully to see what that means. The part that I really want to focus in on is the second part. So it says the university will select a sample of 100 women in STEM majors to participate in a focus group about the internships. And it says, suppose the simple random sampling process is used to select the sample of 100 women. What is the probability that at least 30% of the women in the sample will not meet the age requirement for the internships? So this is a question that's oftentimes it's tricky because this is a binomial random variable, and it's not necessarily super obvious that it is. So a lot of times when you're dealing with a probability question, think about whether it might be binomial or geometric. So let's think about, how do we know that it's binomial? So binomial, there's two different outcomes. They either meet the requirement or they don't meet the age requirements. There's two options there. They're independent. There's a fixed number of trials. They're picking 100 women. And then there's the same probability that the women would be not meet the age requirement each time. In this case, we're looking at them not meeting the age requirement, and that probability is going to be equal to this probability that you had from part A. So you need part A in order to do part B. And then it says, suppose you were trying to find the probability that at least 30% of the women in the sample will not meet the age requirement for the internship. So when you're doing a problem that involves a binomial distribution, you need to define your variable. And in this case, we're talking about the women who did not meet the age requirements. And here it talks about at least 30%, but there are 100 of them. So we're looking for at least 30 women. So our variable that we're trying to figure out here is going to be the number of women who do not meet the age requirement. And what we want to try and do is we want to figure out what's the probability that that is going to be at least 30, which would be greater than or equal to 30. And in order to do this, you can use binomial CDF on your calculator. But remember, the binomial CDF always goes less than. So you're going to have to do 1 minus the probability. If this is starting at 30, your next option that would be less than 30 would be 29. So you would have to do the probability that x is less than or equal to 29. You want to make sure that when you're doing this, you're identifying your n value, your p value, and you can do that using your calculator command, or you can write it out like I did here. All right, I think that should help you to get going. Let me know if you have any further questions.